ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It's me, it's AOB, coming back at you with yet another video. You guessed from the title of the video, I'm going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Oh yes! My first ever DC related video on this channel, which is, quite frankly, I'm ashamed of myself because I love DC, I adore DC as much as I love Marvel. Yeah, this is a long time coming, but I'm going to talk about the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. There may or may not be some spoilers in this video, so this is a spoiler warning for anybody watching this who hasn't seen Zack Snyder's Justice League. You've been warned. I may or may not go into detail. It all depends on how much I start rambling. So, let's get right on with this. My thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is the Justice League movie we needed. This is the Justice League movie that we deserved. This is the Justice League movie that I personally think all DC fans wanted and needed, and we couldn't, I couldn't be happier. Joss Whedon, like, naturally, we're going to compare this, there's going to be moments where I compare this to the theatrical cut, the Joss Whedon version, the Justice League. What a disaster that film was, and to be fair, when I first watched that, and even before I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League, I knew it was terrible, I knew it was a disappointment. I was disappointed with it as a film because it's the Justice League and it was just mediocre, it was just alright. And for a Justice League movie, in a world where we're getting constant Avenger movies that are incredible and way more mainstream than anybody would have ever thought, would have thought a Justice League movie would smash it out the park, but the one that we got was just mediocre at best. It was a mess. It was a Frankenstein's monster of two creative visions that didn't mesh well at all. Joss Whedon reshot shit unnecessarily, and when you watch this, Zack Snyder's Justice League, you think to yourself, how did anybody think that what Joss Whedon was doing was better than what Zack was doing here? This is so bizarre. This is a funny one, because most people are going to naturally compare this to the Joss Whedon version. So the bar's not very high in terms of how good this could be. It would be very hard for this to be somehow worse than the Joss Whedon Justice League. And you got to wonder, is it getting positive reactions because it is better than the Joss Whedon version? Or is it getting positive reactions because it's genuinely a good film? That's the question. Now, for me personally, I think it's just, yeah, I think it's an amazing film. It's so much. It's amazing. It is. I love this film. Everything is fleshed out more. The story is way more coherent. The characters, my God, the characters, they're so much more fleshed out. And there's actual character development. There's character arcs for some characters in this film. Like Cyborg in particular, he goes through an incredible character arc in this film. The Flash has so much more to do. He's not just comic relief. He actually does things. He's not just a scaredy cat pussy who doesn't get involved in fights, really. He actually gets involved, especially in the final act. We see what the Flash is capable of, and it sets up, I think it perfectly sets up the Flashpoint movie that's going to be made, that's coming out soon. So, you know, every character in this film is done immensely better than it was in the Joss Whedon version. Obviously, the Joss Whedon version, they had a 2-hour mandate, so it couldn't go over 2 hours, which for a Justice League film, 2 hours is way too short. So it had to rush through everything, didn't have time for any sort of proper character introductions, proper character arcs, they didn't have time to flesh anything out. In this one, obviously it's 4 hours long, so there's so much more time to flesh all the characters out, give more context behind what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing in the films. It's night and day. It's honestly night and day. There's something about this one, it feels more natural. Like, obviously, the one thing that would have made this better is if each character got their own solo movie beforehand. That's the only real thing that I think would have made this even better than it already is, because it is amazing. I absolutely adored this film. But, to be honest with you, this did do a good job of establishing the heroes that we hadn't met yet. Unlike Batman v Superman, where it's sort of shoehorning in these setups for the Justice League, you know, the email of the Justice League, the advertisement for Justice League with the email that Wonder Woman reads of the Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg. There isn't really any shoehorning in of stuff in this, unlike Batman v Superman, where it kind of felt shoehorning in Batman v Superman. In Justice League, all this stuff feels natural, it feels like it should be there, it's a part of the story. I'll compare this to the first Avengers. The first Avengers, you didn't need to watch all the previous movies before the Avengers to enjoy it, because that film firmly establishes all the heroes in that film in the first act very well enough anyway for new viewers to understand what's going on. It did it perfectly. Which, funnily enough, you wonder why Joss Whedon struggled to do that in the Joss Whedon version of Justice League, because, I mean, it's not as long as the first Avengers, but, you know, it's 2 hours. I feel like the first Avengers wasn't 4 hours long, is what I'm saying, and he still managed to introduce each hero well enough for audiences who had never seen any of the previous Marvel movies, so why couldn't he do it with his version of Justice League? But this one establishes all the characters incredibly well, and I suppose it's better it's better to do it this way because, like I said, Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman at this point, as this film was being made, didn't have their own solo movies. And then obviously Batman was introduced in Batman v Superman, and so was Wonder Woman. And then Wonder Woman had her solo movie in between Batman v Superman and Justice League. There's so much more to all the characters in this film that it's incredible. Steppenwolf, for God's sake. Steppenwolf in the Justice League was one of the worst villains I think we ever saw in a DC movie. And here, they transformed him into something more. Like, don't get me wrong, he's still evil for the sake of being evil. He's not like Thanos, where we're just like, he wants to commit genocide, but he has good intentions. He thinks he's got good intentions. Steppenwolf is still just an evil guy, but he is in the debt of Darkseid. He did something that pissed Darkseid off, and now he's in Darkseid's debt, and he has to give Darkseid 50,000 planets to repay this debt in order for him to be in the good graces of Darkseid again. And we didn't get anything like that in this. You see that Steppenwolf just desperately wants to get on the good side of Darkseid again, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. And you see the motivation, and it just adds more to Steppenwolf's character. You do understand why he's doing what he's doing, and he looks so much better, and he's actually an imposing villain in this one, and he doesn't talk absolute shite in this film.
You will love me, primitive beings. Mother.
None of that going on. Steppenwolf is great in this film. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. As well as Darkseid. The setup for Darkseid in this film. When I first watched the original Justice League, me and one of my closest friends who were massive DC fans and massive Darkseid fans who really wanted to see Darkseid were really hoping for some kind of hint for Darkseid, and we never really got it in the Justice League. I think he might have had one name drop. I can't remember. In this we see Darkseid, and he is menacing. They set him up so well that they've got to continue this Snyderverse. Restore the Snyderverse! Hashtag restore the Snyderverse, that's what it is here. But the way they set up Darkseid here, it made me think of sort of the introduction of Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. It's sort of, he's a character in the film, he's a presence in the film, but it's very sort of minuscule and it's not that much. But what they did with Darkseid in this, they established him so perfectly. And like I said, it wasn't just shoehorned in there, it felt like natural for the story. Let's talk about Wonder Woman. Holy Christ! Wonder Woman in this, and especially coming off the back of Wonder Woman 1984, which was a bit... Wonder Woman 1984... Wonder Woman in this is an absolute... You take Wonder Woman from Wonder Woman 1984, and you put her up against Wonder Woman in this... Wonder Woman 84 is shitting her pants and running away in the opposite direction. There's no way she stands a chance. Gal Gadot in this film, man. Why did her introduction scene that was in the original Justice League, there's little things in it. Why did they cut all the stuff out? You actually see her, punching people. She's, you forget how fast Wonder Woman is. She is incredibly fast. And you actually see that in this film, and she is mashing people into potato mash left, right and centre in her opening scene. Good lord, Wonder Woman in this film, she kicks some ass, and her fights with Steppenwolf, again, it's night and day compared to the Justice League. Gal Gadot in this film, it's more of what made her a badass in Batman v Superman. Like, I still get goosebumps in Batman v Superman when she turns up to save Batman, when Doomsday is about to incinerate Batman, and she blocks it with a shield and her theme starts playing. She has got one of the best themes in anything ever. Joss Whedon just didn't understand what made her so compelling, and this was just an awesome version of Wonder Woman. Probably my favourite version of Wonder Woman we've had on screen, even better than what she is in her solo movie, in the first Wonder Woman movie, which I love the first Wonder Woman movie, but the way she is in this, my lord, she is a force to be reckoned with. Let's talk about Ben Affleck's Batman as well. Ben Affleck, you're the man. After watching this, it really makes me, like, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for the Robert Pattinson Batman movie, but man, I would honestly rather have a Ben Affleck Batman movie that we were originally supposed to get, because Ben Affleck as Batman in this, he is my favourite on-screen version of Batman. He is. It's the costume as Bruce Wayne as well. He's a perfect Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I'm not knocking Christian Bale or Michael Keaton, because I love those two as well. There's just something about Ben Affleck. He is just the comic book Batman come to life. He's imposing. The costume is the best superhero costumes we've ever had on screen. I just love his portrayal of Batman. I love everything about him, and he has done so much better. All of his shitty jokes from the theatrical cut have been ripped out of this, and it feels like a natural continuation of his character from Batman v Superman. In Justice League, it felt like a complete 180. How he was in Batman v Superman, and then suddenly in the Joss Whedon cut, he was this more light-hearted, jokey version of Batman.
Yeah. Oh, something is definitely bleeding.
This felt like a genuine, natural continuation of Ben Affleck's Batman from Batman v Superman through this, and it was all the better for it. I love this version of Batman. He is perfection, if you ask me, and the bar is set pretty high. So the Batman, I'm excited for you, but Ben Affleck is, he set the bar really high for me personally. Cyborg, everybody's been saying this, but Cyborg is the heart and soul of this film. He's the one that goes through the biggest sort of character arc. And Ray Fisher, I thought he was alright in the Joss Whedon version, but you could tell that so much stuff was completely ripped out from him. And why they took all the stuff out, I will never understand, but there's so much more to Cyborg in this. And he is so incredibly well fleshed out. We actually see his origin story, everything. Like, Cyborg was incredible in this film as well. Jason Momoa's Aquaman was great as well. Like, there was more of him in this, but there wasn't like anything too drastically different from him in this version compared to the Joss Whedon version. Jason Momoa is great in this film. Superman as well. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just me or if it's the fact that the film is a lot longer, but I feel like we didn't get as much Superman in this as we got in the Joss Whedon version. Because my favourite part of the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League was Superman, minus the fucking rubber lip, was Superman. And when he came into the final battle and how he was, I loved all that, because he was channeling his inner Christopher Reeve. Henry Cavill was easily my favourite part of the original Justice League. In this, I don't feel like he's in it anywhere near as much. I don't know if that's just because this is so much longer, so there's more stuff going on. It feels like there wasn't as much for Superman in this as there was in the Joss Whedon version. I'm not criticising it. Like I said, this is still so much better, and I preferred all the stuff for Superman in this than I did the Joss Whedon version. I just feel like there wasn't as much of it, and obviously he had his black suit as well, which I don't really think there was any point in the black suit. It's not like it is in the comics where it's a Kryptonian healing suit. It's just a black suit. Like, it doesn't help heal him or anything when he comes back to life. When they bring him back to life, and he's been on the farm for a bit with Lois and Martha, he then goes to his ship, and then he just decides, you know what, I fancy a change up, I'm going to wear a black suit instead. It's not like it is in the original Death of Superman story, where it's like a Kryptonian healing suit that he needs in order to help him restore himself. It's not that at all, it's just purely for cosmetic purposes. So in that regard, I would have preferred that he just wore his normal red and blue. This thing here. Henry Cavill proves again why he is spectacular as Superman, and why, for the life of me, Warner Brothers aren't doing anything more with him. Why aren't we giving him a sequel? Why are we potentially rebooting Superman? Why did you not even let him cameo as himself in Shazam? What are you doing with Henry Cavill, WB, man? But honestly, this is a film that DC fans wanted, I think. I can't imagine many DC fans, unless they're not big on the whole darker aspects that Zack Snyder brings to the DC universe. Because if you weren't on board with Zack Snyder's DC universe before, this isn't going to change your mind. This isn't going to bring you around to it. You're not going to watch this and go, well, I was wrong all along. I thought I did that. obviously this is amazing. It's not going to do that. It's just going to be, you're a hardcore DC fan who wanted a live action Justice League movie, and this is going to fulfill that desire completely. I'm just saying that as a DC fan myself, I felt fulfilled. More like the Joss Whedon version, I felt deflated. Like, I can't believe that was the Justice League movie we got. We live in a world where Justice League was just a blimp on the radar, and it failed, and it sort of just cancelled the whole DCEU direction and any potential more crossovers. This, though, this was just everything that I wanted as a DC fan and that I wanted from the Justice League movie. This is the magnum opus of the DCEU, if you ask me. This is easily my favourite DCEU movie so far. Oh, I didn't talk about the nightmare scenes. So the nightmare scenes where... please, Warner Brothers, HBO Max, let him continue this vision, because my god, the amount of setup we have in this film, the whole nightmare timelines, the nightmare visions, I really want to see that on screen. I want to see everything they've done with they're doing with the nightmare timeline. I want to see this unfold, because it sets up so much, and if we don't see it, it's going to be the biggest shame in anything ever, if you ask me. One of my favourite scenes is we finally got an interaction between Ben Affleck's Batman and Jared Leto's Joker, which is something that I have wanted ever since I saw Suicide Squad. Controversial opinion here. You might want to snipe me from the rooftops or just through the window here. I might be putting a target on my head. But I actually really liked Jared Leto's Joker. I don't like Suicide Squad as a film. I really don't. My favourite parts of it, though, were all the scenes involving the Joker. And I really liked Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker, and I really wanted to see more of him. But also as well, I really wanted to see Ben Affleck's Batman and Jared Leto's Joker interact. Because even though they'd never interacted before, you can tell that there is a history there. Whether it's Robin's suit with the "Joke's on you, Batman" in Batman v Superman, or whether it's all of Joker's tattoos symbolising stuff to do with Batman, or in one of his, like this costume here, he's wearing like tights with a Batman logo on. Like, there's clear history between Jared Leto's Joker and Ben Affleck's Batman. We never saw it, which was just, you had Batman and Joker in the same movie in Suicide Squad, but you didn't have them interact. Whose fucking idea was that? Why would you have Batman and Joker in the same movie and not have them interact? Yes, there's the scene where Joker and Harley Quinn are driving in Joker's purple Saints Row the Third car and Batman's on the roof, but they didn't interact. They didn't have a dialogue exchange. They didn't share a scene together, which was ridiculous. And we finally got an interaction between them both in this, and it is one of my favourite scenes in the whole film. Quite possibly, it's in my top 5. It might very well be my favourite scene. It was only like 2 minutes long, but the dialogue exchange between Joker and Batman in this, I got goosebumps, man. Absolutely. It just proved why I like Jared Leto's Joker. I know, I don't think people who, well, most everybody, I'm not sure that this brief scene will change people's minds on Jared Leto's Joker, but for me, it was just more what I loved about him. And I mean, I like his laugh. I know people don't like it, but I like his laugh. Like, this Joker is scary, especially in this scene in Justice League. He's scary. I was afraid that I wouldn't feel satisfied with the scene between Batman and Joker in this, because I knew going into it was only going to be very, very short, very brief. And I was expecting to be like, goddamn, I want more. But to be honest, I was really satisfied with what we got, and I do hope we get more of this, because I love Jared Leto's Joker, I love Ben Affleck's Batman. They clearly have something there. It was just something so satisfying about that. My favourite line is when the Joker says, "Just rip up the card anytime and I will be happy to discuss with you why you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job." Again, establishing all that history between this Joker and this Batman that we haven't seen played out on screen. But that scene gave me goosebumps, man. I couldn't be more happier with this, and I just hope we get a continuation of this. The only real problems I had with the film were the amount of slow motion shots Zack Snyder uses. Like, Zack, I know you love your slow motion shots, but like, dial it down, man. Come on. Like, it's one thing having slow motion scenes for action sequences, but for people just walking, you don't need that going on here. Like, I'm serious, just for people running or walking, he uses slow motion shots in this film. You didn't need that, man. It kind of got a bit annoying after a while. The stuff, and as well, the stuff with Lois and Martha, like Lois, it still does feel like they don't know what to do with Lois in this whole franchise. She's just there to mourn the death of Superman. and then she's just there to calm him down once he's back to life. She's not there for any other purpose. And she's barely in the film, to be honest, but when she's there, you're just like, it's not really needed. Or it doesn't feel like they know what to do with her. There's so many teasers for my boy Green Lantern as well. Like in the flashback sequence when Yuxas, or young Darkseid, is originally on Earth, and all man and the Atlanteans and gods all team up with the Green Lantern to take down Yuxas or Darkseid. God, I love seeing Green Lantern. And then in one of Cyborg's vision, before they bring back Superman, you see Kilowog's dead body. A lot of people I spoke to didn't seem to notice this, but Kilowog's dead body's there underneath like the broken Justice League sign. Like, stop teasing me. Give me some Green Lantern. I love Green Lantern. Give me some more Green Lantern, please. God, I wish they had Green Lantern in this film as a proper member of the Justice League. You remember that picture of Jason Momoa? That first reveal picture of Jason Momoa as Aquaman? It said, "Unite the Seven." Where's the seventh one? Who's the seventh one? Is it Martian Manhunter? Because Martian Manhunter's in this. Barely. I mean, it was nice to see him. He looked great. But god damn it, you're cock teasing us with Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern. Come on now. But yeah, that's just me talking about the Justice League. I loved it. So I just wanted to get on camera and talk about my thoughts on the Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I adored it so much. I hope we get more, and I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm gonna watch it again, because this is what we want. This is a DC fan's dream. You know, I've had my Marvel fill, like. Well, I'm not having Marvel Phil. Give me more Marvel, please. Don't stop giving me more Marvel stuff. But you know, we've had as Avengers quadrilogy that was spectacular in every way, but we've not had our DC equivalent to that. And this is the closest thing to an equivalent we're going to get, and it was incredible, and I adored it. And I just hope that we can restore the Snyderverse, people. Come on, let's get that hashtag trending. Restore the Snyderverse, because this was what we need. I feel like if I give it a 10 out of 10, well, it's not a 10 out of 10, because no film's really a 10 out of 10. If I give it a 9 out of 10, that'll just seem like me giving it a 10 out of 10 without actually giving it a 10 out of 10. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Even though I would say, subjectively, from my personal point of view, I would give it a 9 or an 8 or a 10 out of 10, because, God, I adored this film. But yes, that's my thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League. I know I've missed out a lot of details, but as I said, I was just talking. I didn't have any notes. I was just rambling on and just talking about the first things that come to my head. And this has gone on long enough, but yeah, that's my thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you agree or disagree, please tell me, because I know not everybody loves this, and I know that a lot of people do love this. So tell me what your thoughts were down below on Zack Snyder's Justice League. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you want to see the Snyderverse restored? Or do you not want to bother because you didn't like it at all? Let me know, guys. But thank you ever so much for tuning into this video, ladies and gentlemen. And ciao for now.